things tonight, okay? And I need your participation. I'm going to do my best to keep my eye on the chat and see what you're saying, okay? So I know last week I was really preoccupied, and if there was questions, I just didn't really get to them. So I apologize for that. Doing the best I can. All right, so we got the fast on tonight. Jack McAlevey, Pastors Keith and Anna, Reverend Annette, Brother Andy, Pete also, Pastor Joni. Let's see, God bless you guys. And don't forget, tell somebody we're on live. Send a text out. If you jump on your Facebook page, share it. Go to my Facebook page and share that we're on live. Let's try to get more and more people involved in this. And before I even get into the message tonight, I want to ask you guys if you'll help out with something, okay? Would you help me out by, if you are a member or a subscriber of the YouTube channel, that is really, really great. But what I need you to do is I need you to go to the YouTube channel and I need you to actually watch the videos there. So if you actually go back and watch these on frankdupre.online, don't go there and watch them. Go to the YouTube channel and watch them there, okay? Because that helps YouTube's algorithms get these videos out more to more people. And don't forget, go to YouTube, start watching them, click on the like, and this way, again, all these things just help get the word out so more people can be a part of this, okay? So I really appreciate if you do that. All right, so 2 parts to tonight, and 1 part is to talk about the current events of what's going on in Ukraine with Russia, with Zelensky, with NATO, with the U.S., with Biden and all this. I've got a picture in my mind, and I felt I received this while I was out walking. And then as soon as I got back and I was studying, sure enough, I came across somebody else who felt the exact same thing, and I felt like it's a strong confirmation of what God is saying to me. So I want to share that with you. But before we do that, I want to get into the first part. The first part is this, and I'm sure you've heard about what's taking place in here. In fact, I know you're feeling what's taking place. We've got shortages all over the place. We've got problems, situations where there's not enough certain items in the stores. Gasoline, diesel, these fuel prices are going way up. You may have been waiting for a delivery of something and it's not coming and you're getting a delay. We have the supply chain shortages and the supply chain delays. Things are being delayed in our supply chain. It's making a major difference for all of us. Now, the official word from Washington is that we are in inflation. Now, if you remember, last year they said there's not going to be inflation. And then after that, they said, well, there may be some inflation, but it'll be transitory. It won't last. And then after that, they said, and each one of these things takes a few months. After that, they said, well, there is some inflation, and it will be here for a little while, but don't worry, we've got it under control. Listen, when the government tells you we've got it under control, you better figure out your own way because they don't have anything under control, okay? They're just talking. One of the things that's really sad nowadays is that we can't trust the media. We can't trust what are the major purveyors of news in America. You've got your newspapers, can't trust them. You've got your radio outlets, can't trust them. Your TV stations, can't trust them. They're spinning the news towards a certain line of thinking, a certain way of thinking. And if you disagree with them, you know what's happening. Cancel culture. You get canceled out. I'm sure some of you know who Joe Rogan is. He's one of the biggest podcasters that there is. And of course, they were trying to cancel him out because of something he had a guest on who was talking about something that the media and big tech people didn't like. They have a narrative that they want to keep to. And so this is what we're fighting. And the saddest part about it is that we can't trust our own government. Do you realize that this is, what's today? Today's March 28th. And within the last 7 days, 8 days, our president has had 3 major statements he's made in public in Europe, in front of the world. And these 3 major statements he's made about Putin, about Zelensky, about our soldiers, about chemical warfare, as soon as he said them, Washington, D.C., where he's not, of course, he's in Europe, starts walking it back. No, he didn't mean that. That's not what he meant. He really wasn't saying that because a reporter said if Putin uses chemical warfare, what will we do? He says, we will respond in kind. In other words, we will use illegal, banned chemical weapons. That's ridiculous. So, of course, the handlers, they all start walking it back. And then they question him. Did you mean that? Well, of course, it's ridiculous. I didn't mean that, but that's what you said. And then he's standing in front of our troops, and he's vowed no U.S. troops will go into Ukraine. And then he's telling the troops, he says, and you'll be there, and you'll see it. You'll see the children, the mothers crying, and you'll see it while you're there. Now, then the rest, are our troops going there? And he said, then everybody's saying, no, he didn't mean that. He's standing in solidarity. See, it's all a bunch of baloney. And then, of course, the kicker, he says a few things that are going on, and then he says, and God help us, we've got to remove that man. That's called regime change, when you take out a leader and you replace him with another leader. And that's what that means. And then he says, of course, no, I didn't mean that. And his handlers are saying, no, he didn't mean that. He's just saying we really can't, we can't let him get away with what he's getting away with, Well, that's the saddest part we have right now. You know how I grew up in the 50s and 60s, okay? And Russia was a big threat back then. And we were in a Cold War. And the thing that we were talking about most of the time was Russian propaganda. That they lied to their people. They gave their people a narrative all the time that the West is evil, that America's no good, that America's out for us, they're after us, and we're doing so great, we're successful. And the truth, of course, was the opposite. But that was propaganda. And now the sad thing is that in America, we're being flooded with propaganda all the time. Propaganda all the time. It's a sad, sad thing. So here's the serious part about this, okay? All these things are causing severe troubles here. The official line is that we are now at inflation, which they said we wouldn't get. Then they said we'd get a little. Then they said go away. But now they're saying it's here. They're saying it's 7.5%. It's nowhere near 7.5%. You know it, and I know it. It's much higher than that. The chicken that you bought and you paid $2.99 a pound for, now you're paying $4.99. The chicken you paid, $4.99 a pound for be deboned and skinned and all that. Now you're paying $5.99, $6.99. Now you're paying 10, 20, 30% more for the items that you need to buy, different things that you want and need to have. And this is going to affect us all. Another big thing that's happening right now, of course, is that Russia has stopped all exporting to the U.S. and to many of the NATO countries. And it will not export wheat. It will not export nickel, which you need. See, America's pushing the big green agenda, the new Green Deal. We got to go all batteries, all electric. Well, you need nickel to make these batteries. And Russia stopped exporting nickel. So now there's a very big shortage of nickel to make the batteries so we can stay off of oil. But see, it's not going to happen. It's going to fall back on us. Russia is not exporting these things. Ukraine is not exporting wheat right now because Ukraine and Russia are the breadbasket of the world. Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe, and put the two together, they're the breadbasket of the world. One of the things that's happening is because of the ban of exports, Russia is going through certain problems themselves. Ukraine is going to go through certain problems themselves, but the whole world is beginning to suffer shortages in different areas. And one of the most important things that is being on the short supply side is fertilizer, okay? I read a story this morning in National Geographic, browsed through this real quick, a Ukrainian farmer, he's saying, by this time of the year, I'd have my crops in the ground, everything to fertilize would be in there, I'd be getting everything ready, and I'm looking forward to harvest coming up, and at the harvest time, he says, I don't have crops in the ground, I don't have fertilizer. And the big problem all around the world is no fertilizer, because again, nitrogen, one of the major components of making fertilizer, is being banned, it's not being exported, and we're suffering for this, okay? I was listening to a person talk about a friend who's a farmer up in the Wisconsin area. And the man normally spends $30,000 every year for fertilizer. And he talked to his supplier, and the supplier said to him, I've got bad news for you. He says, fertilizer is not going to be $30,000 this year. It's going to be $100,000. That's 30% higher, a 30-fold increase in the price. And then he said, and I got more bad news. He says, I can't even send you fertilizer. I don't have any. There's a shortage. The price is going way high, sky high, because there's a shortage and you can't get it. Things are changing. Simple things, mulch. It's the time of year you want to put mulch down around your gardens and around your lawn and your bushes and things like that. Mulch has gone up $1, $2 a bale. A 3 cubic foot bale. It's gone up a couple of dollars. It's higher. Everything is going higher, no matter what. Now, one of the things that we need to do is we need to look at and understand, what are we going to do ourselves? I talked to you back a while ago about being prepared, like a Boy Scout. Boy Scout motto, be prepared, okay? We need to start to realize we're heading into serious, serious troubles. If the war in Ukraine goes on a little longer, which it probably will, even if nobody else gets involved, if the exports stop, if they keep on this, by the way, on Friday, Putin just made an announcement. He announced that he's no longer accepting dollars for payment for anything he exports to any unfriendly country, meaning any European country, any ally of the U.S., anybody else. He said, I'm not accepting dollars. We're accepting rubles, our own currency. We're accepting gold, and we're accepting Bitcoin, and that's it. We're not accepting anything else. So what he's doing is he's taking his currency and he's basing it on commodities, something real, whereas our currency is based on the full faith and promise of the U.S. government, which is really not worth a lot right now. Our money's not worth hardly anything. So Russia is no longer going to do that. Russia is working on a deal with Saudi Arabia to exchange and buy oil and not use dollars, not use petrodollars. Ever since the 1950s, all oil out of Saudi Arabia has been sold in dollars. No matter what country's buying it, they have to get dollars and then they buy their oil. Russia, China, and Saudi Arabia are making deals to use the Chinese yuan so that they can start to build that currency and devalue the dollar even more. Things are very, very bad. Now, folks, you may have been in a situation where you're in a hurricane, Hurricane Sandy several years back. We all lost power here in the Northeast. All across the country, people were suffering drastically from Hurricane Sandy. All the Gulf Coast states all hit terribly by the superstorm Sandy. And so you couldn't get things. The stores didn't have things. They ran out of things right away. The staples right away. You lose your bread, you lose your milk, you lose your butter, your eggs. That stuff goes right away. But then other things start to fall behind because, again, you can't get trucks through. Now look, what's going to happen with the price of diesel? Diesel's climbing above $5 a gallon. $5.39, $5.59. It's getting higher and higher. That means the trucks have to spend more money to fill their tanks up. Right now, a trucker who would spend $300 to fill his tank with diesel is spending $800 to $1,000 to fill the tank with diesel. That cost is going to get passed on to us consumers. It's also going to slow things down because not the independent guys, it's hard for them to put out that kind of money. The large, big companies, they can do that, but they still have the supply chain shortage. We still have ships off the coast of California. We have ships off the coast of Mexico supposed to come into California. Everything is behind. Right now on the store shelves, if you're looking around, you'll find that there's some stock on certain stores. If you go into some stores, you'll find a lot of products around. The thing is, many of those products are what they ordered last year, and they're just getting them now. And so it seems like everything is good, everything is okay, look at all the stuff we got. But that's from last year's order. This year's orders aren't coming in. They won't be coming in for a year, maybe two. Goldman Sachs, the financial giant Goldman Sachs, predicts a 35% chance of a recession by the end of this year, going into 2023. 35% chance that U.S. will go into a recession in 2023. That's a serious problem. And there are things that are going on. France right now, Emmanuel Macron, he is thinking about and talking about putting into place a food voucher system so that you get paper vouchers for food, And then you can go to the stores and get food with your vouchers, okay? And they're talking about tying that into their vaccination passport system. So that number one, you need a vaccination in order to get your vaccination passport and go to stores and other places. And then you need that same passport so you can get your food vouchers so you can go to the store and buy food. So if you don't have a vaccination, you're stuck. You can't buy food now. This is a way of forcing people into their system, how they want to control things. Whether you believe in vaccinations or not, it's not the point. It's a control system, okay? So right now, looking at all these different things, and I've spent already almost 20 minutes talking about this, I want to show you something, okay? You need to get a hold of bleach and laundry soap, all right? This is laundry soap right on top of my washing machine, and this is a picture of a bleach, a gallon of bleach, Clorox bleach, any kind of bleach you want. Bleach, if you see this on this, it says disinfecting bleach. Bleach does not only make your clothes white. I use bleach when I do my whites all the time. I have to, all right? I like white clothes when they're white. Of course, sometimes when I was younger, I put the bleach in with the colors and you end up with problems, but I don't do that no more. But bleach not only will make your clothes white, bleach will disinfect things. Do you know that if we had a problem with water, let's say that we had a grid crash and we didn't have water flowing right now from the taps, and you had to get water someplace else and you ran out of bottles and you're collecting rainwater or you're getting water somewhere, a pond, a stream, or something like that, there's viruses and bacteria living in those things, and if you drink that, you get what we commonly call in Mexico, Montezuma's revenge. But if you put a couple of drops of bleach, just a couple of drops, 2-3 drops of bleach in a gallon of water, you disinfect it. You kill all the virus and you kill all the bacteria. It's just as good as boiling the water, okay? So bleach can be used for that. Now, the other thing, you want to get liquid soap, because liquid soap can be used also for many things. You're going to need it for cleaning and for things like that. So that's just one thing that you might want to do. Here's another thing you might want to think about getting, okay? You might want to think about getting coffee. You might want to start thinking about getting extra coffee. Now, we have a Keurig, okay? So these are the pods for the Keurig, and this is just one brand that we like, underneath that there's another box of French roast, and behind that there's the Christmas blend, and then there's a decaffeinated one, and these are the things that we've got at home because we want to have different things that we need. We want to be able to have coffee. What if there is no coffee? Some of us are going to go nuts without our coffee, okay? Right now, I think I'll take a sip. Actually, it's not coffee, it's tea. Decaf. I like tea also. Here's another thing we have to think about. You got to think about stockpiling some food. One of the great things to do, you'll see it up there, is peanut butter, okay? There's tomatoes, there's macaroni, there's canned goods, there's tuna fish, there's cans of chicken, there's rice, there's things like that. You have to think about stuff like that. And, I'm a peanut butter and jelly guy. If you look at me, you'll say, you're 71 years old and I eat peanut butter and jelly almost every day for lunch. I've been doing it for years. I used to eat Skippy. I don't eat these guys. I get an all-natural kind. I actually get Costco's all-natural. It's great, fantastic. But that's what I use, okay? So we need to have peanut butter. We need to have stockpile of food. We need things like this so that we can live. We have to do that. Now, another thing you might want to start thinking about is rice, okay? Getting rice, getting sugar, getting other staples that you need, and getting a food saver or some other type of brand like this. This is the kind that we have. And then you get that vacuum sealer. You buy your 25-pound bag of rice down at Costco's, okay? You get your 25-pound bag of rice at Costco's, and then you seal it maybe a pound or two in a plastic sealer that you vacuum pack, and then you get a 5-gallon drum, plastic pail that you get Joint Compound in, or, Home Goods type of, what do you call it, different home stores where they got, the 5-gallon buckets and you can buy them, Home Depot, things like that. And you can then stack them in there, put in like 20 2-pound bags of vacuum sealed sugar or vacuum sealed rice or something like that. And then when you need it, you take out a pack at a time. And by doing that, you'll have stuff that will last you for quite some time. Of course, you can also do this with chicken. You can do it with beef. You can do it with meat. You can do it with other things then you can freeze them, you can keep them longer and do things like that, okay? So some of these things are really, really important, and I think one of the things that you might want to think about also is, this might seem strange, but here's another thing to go to the store and get. If you go to Costco's like I do, well, get some Kirkland scented kitchen garbage bags. You know, you might end up where you say, I need garbage bags. For what? They're used for a lot of different things. You know, and if you get the big garbage bag kind, you know, you can get those and you can use them for storage and for things like that, whatever you need to do. But there's going to come a point, because it's a petroleum-based product, it's an oil-based product, we may start seeing shortages of this and that. Now, I'm a guy, and I'm going to have another sip here. I'm a guy that I drink milk. I'm also a kid at heart. I eat cereal almost every day. I've got my all-natural cereal. I have my frozen strawberries or my fresh bananas, and I put them on top. And this is my breakfast every day with my supplements. And I have my peanut butter and jelly for lunch most of the time, or cream cheese and jelly. I'm still a kid at heart. You know why I do this, really? I like it. It tastes good, and it's easy to do. It's real simple. And I can stockpile that stuff. I can keep a lot of jars of jelly. I can keep a lot of jars of peanut butter. I keep boxes of the cereal because it's vacuum sealed in the bag. It's not going to go bad. But the milk, I used to drink regular whole milk. But as I got older, it would bother my stomach a little bit. So I experimented and I tried lactose-free milk. And guess what? I like it. I don't get any acid. I enjoy it. But I go to the store the other day and there's no lactose-free milk. And there's a sign, short supply. Expect none of this lactose-free milk, and also expect no half and half, and expect these. And they listed a few products that we're not going to have them for a few weeks. I'm like, well, wait a second. I drink half and half every day in my coffee or tea. I have my lactose-free milk every morning. I also, by the way, I make chocolate milk for lunch. When I have my peanut butter and jelly and my cream cheese and jelly, I have a glass of chocolate milk. And I cut it, and I dip it, and I eat it. I'm a kid at heart. I'm young at heart. What can I say? But what I'm trying to say is there's a shortage of milk. So I went to a store last night, and I bought 2 half gallons of lactose-free milk in a different store. And I keep them in the refrigerator in a real cold spot. And if I have to, I'll freeze it. Because I don't want to run out. I don't want to run out of that stuff. I don't want to run out of certain things. I want to be able to have things. But there's something else that you can think about. If we end up in a real fix, if we've got a problem, and stores start running short of things, well, you've got kids, or you've got young people, or whatever, or your clothes get rips and tears and things like that, you might want to make sure you've got a sewing kit so you can fix and repair the things that go wrong with your clothes, okay? So that's what I've got for you for right now for these things here, okay? Nothing else to talk about there. That's all settled and done. And what I want to do right now is I want to pop over to the chat and see what you're saying in here, okay? Diane, highest inflation in 42 years. You're absolutely right. And what we're really concerned about is what you call stagflation. Stagflation is something we haven't seen since the 70s. I don't know about you. When Gio and I bought our first house, we had a mortgage at 19% interest. 19%, and we were glad to get it because it was going up to 20 and 22 for different people. So it's really, really difficult, okay? And our current government, they don't know what their left hand is doing from the right hand. You're right, Diane, absolutely. So I want to ask you guys a question, okay? Parmalat shelf-stable milk, yes. Parmalat milk is really good. You don't need that. What about little half and half things that don't need storage? You can keep them out. What about dry powdered milk? If you've got kids and they want milk, you can use the dry powdered milk. Just add water to it. Okay, there's things you can do. So I want to ask you guys, who's storing things? How many of you are storing things? And maybe in the chat just say, you know, I'm storing food. I'm storing, you know, basic things. What else? What about duct tape? Get a couple of rolls of duct tape. Believe me, once things start to fall apart and these things go, people are going to hoard these things. Get some duct tape. And don't forget your paper towels, and don't forget your toilet paper. These are things you're going to want. What about tissues? Don't you want to get a case of tissues? Okay, so who's storing anything? Who's putting aside peanut butter? Who's putting aside water? Who's putting aside, you know, maybe garbage bags? Who's putting aside bleach or coffee? Are you doing stuff like that? Has anybody got a food saver? If you've got a food saver or you're doing anything, just put it in the chat. Pastor Joni says she's storing. What are you storing, Pastor Joni? Somebody else. What are you storing? What are you doing? Like Diane Fleming says in Jersey City, I always keep Parmalat shelf, the milk that you don't need to have it in refrigeration for. So come on. Give me a little bit of feedback on this. What are you storing? What's going on? And then we're gonna while you're putting in your comments, I'm gonna give you some more information about what's happening right now. I told you about Goldman Sachs. They're saying possible recession, 35% by 2023. Okay, right now the world is blaming Russia for everything. You realize? Did you notice how President Biden was blaming Putin for our inflation? He's blaming Putin for our high gas prices. Hey, we had inflation before Putin did anything. We had high gas prices climbing up before he did anything. So you can't blame him for everything. Now, there's something called the U.S. Monetary Policy Forum. They meet in New York. Come on, guys. Oh, yeah, Andy, farmers are being paid to kill their crops. Guess what else is going to happen? They're going to be taking their crops, like let's say an orchard, and instead of selling apples and doing things like that and getting them to market, what they're going to do is they're going to sell them to a juicer who's going to juice them, and you won't have apples in the stores, but you will get apple juice eventually if they can ship it to you. Nikki's saying, we're storing a little bit of everything each time we go to the store. Pasta, rice, cereal, tissue, toilet paper, cleaners, etc. Very good. That's wise. All right? Pastor Joni's saying all of the above, tea bags and other shelf stuff. Like I said, amen to tea bags. I got a big box of P&G tea bags downstairs. Milk, PB, amen, same thing. Peanut butter. Andy, storing everything we mentioned. So some of you guys are storing. What about the rest of you guys? All right, how about you guys over in Pennsylvania? Some of you guys in Jersey City. Teresa, what are you doing, okay? Give me an idea. All right, apple juice is hard to get here down in North Carolina, okay? Things like this are happening. The Federal Reserve digital dollar is on the way. And this is the plan for new technologies so that the central bank can compete with cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. Now, this is from the U.S. Monetary Policy Forum out of New York. This is one of their latest statements. They want the central bank to start to think about new technologies, meaning take the paper dollar away, take away some of your money dollars, paper, and get it into a digital coin. All right, this is a coin. A digital coin you can't see. A digital coin is in a different kind of wallet. You can't see it. It's in an account, and that's it. Now, they say that Bitcoin is a threat because it's decentralized and they can't control it. So they're going to work against it to destroy it. People are saying, hey, put your money in Bitcoin because it's safe and this and that. I got news for you. If the computers crash around the world, if somehow things happen, how are you going to get your Bitcoin? How are you going to get to your wallet? How are you going to do those things? Most of you guys don't have Bitcoin. I don't have Bitcoin. I don't believe in having Bitcoin because I don't believe it's safe, personally, okay? I would rather, if I could, I'd rather have a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver. That is more of really money, okay? So let's see. Diane, I can't imagine not having a recession. We have nothing to back up the money. It's like, it is paper. There's no gold or silver behind it. The paper is paper. It could be a piece of paper. That's all it is. It's just a piece of paper. It's just printed with some green ink, and that's about it. That's all. It's just paper, and that's it. That's what our money is worth. It's not worth anything. I was telling you guys recently, our dollar is really worth about 3 cents. 2 to 3 cents is your general understanding of what a dollar is. Back a couple of months ago, I did a video with you about the price of candy. You go to the store, you buy a candy bar, $1.50, $2, $2.25. Used to be a nickel. A nickel. Is it better than it used to be? Are the ingredients better? Isn't manufacturing much better and simpler today? Haven't we advanced in all these different things? If we've advanced in all the manufacturing and the product is no better than it was before, why are we paying more? We're paying more not because it's worth more. We're paying more because our money's worth less. Okay? That's the problem. All right, now, let me wrap it up with this. All right, here's my thoughts. I'm going to tell you a few things. So fasten your seatbelts. If you go to a website called the World Economic Forum, you're going to read about the Great Reset. All right? The Great Reset is scheduled for 2025. This is the date that they're setting to say, we want to have a reset of the world's finances by 2025. We want to reset. We want to get rid of capitalism. We want to institute socialism or Marxism or some brand of ism, get rid of capitalism. And in fact, and this is the most famous quote, you've all heard it before, in fact, When we do the Great Reset, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Well, I might own nothing, but somebody will own it. Who's going to own it? The multimillionaires, the global elite, the ones who are trying to take control of the entire world, okay? I got something here. Really wasn't thinking about sharing this, but maybe I will if I can grab it here. I got a bunch of papers and stuff like that, you know. If it's right near the top, I'll just grab it. Oh wait, no, it's not there. I'll do it next time. There's about 8 or 9 people that right now, and you know, Bill Gates, George Soros, a few others like that. When you combine their wealth, they have more money than half of the world. Add up half the world. They have more money than half the world. Okay, so this is really an inequity. You know, I believe in people making money, making a profit, things like that. No problem with that. But the problem is that these people don't want to just make a profit. They want to control everything. Okay, and so what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, this is, in my opinion, a diversion. Now, I can't prove this. It's my opinion. Okay, it's my 2 cents. It's a diversion to get us not paying attention to the shortages, to the rising prices, to the more controls that are taking over our countries. More and more and more. They're taking control. So that now, as the next year goes by, if we go into a recession, if America starts to have a recession, if the dollar starts to crash, if they have to devalue the dollar and change our currency, which is their goal to do this because they want to put in the digital currency, which is no paper, no coins, just digital. It's all where? It's in your phone, right? It's all in your phone. That's where it's at. And if they do that, then they control everything about it. Right now with the phone, of course, you know this, you understand this. When you have your phone, okay, they know where you are. In fact, do you know if you turn your phone off, as far as the government's concerned or anybody really working on tracking things, they can still track your phone. They still know what you're doing. I didn't believe that until somebody much smarter than me showed me that it's true. And with the phone, they know what you're buying, where you're buying it. If you're using Apple Pay and things like that, Google Pay, everything is being done. If you're using credit cards, everything is tracked, everything is known. They know everything. Well, everything you do in cash right now, nobody knows anything about it because it's all cash. But once they get rid of cash, everything is trackable. Everything is trackable. If you watched the movie 1984, if you can dig it up, you should. My wife and I watched it recently. If you can read the book 1984, get a copy, read it if you've never read it before, and you'll understand about the thought police. You'll understand about using fear to control people. You'll understand about all these different things. Andy says, I don't own anything now and I'm happy. Yeah. Yeah. Pastors Keith and Anna, they're storing shelf-staple, almond milk, paper products, canned goods. Good. This is what we need. We need to store things up and do that. We need to be aware of these things happening because the Great Reset is it's coming to the stage. Now, we can slow it down possibly, maybe some things like that, but in reality, certain things are going to happen. They're going to come down the pike no matter what. And the world is headed this way. And we know that the Antichrist is going to be coming at some point. We know that things are going to get worse. Do you realize that if there are food shortages, okay, if there are serious food shortages, probably 5 governments were toppled in the last 15 years because of food shortages and riots, and the governments were toppled. You get pandemonium in the streets. You start to get looting. You start to get violence. You start to get a lot of problems if there's food shortages. If people don't have food, they go crazy. They have to eat. And so the thing about what the World Economic Forum's plan for the Great Reset and what the global elite are doing is that they are getting everything ready for it to go this way. And every crisis that they can foment, that they can foist upon us, it makes people ready, not you, but it makes people ready to say, Oh, government, come and save me. Oh, give me the digital dollar. It'll help me out. I'm going to get a universal basic income. I won't have to work. They'll take care of me. I'll be on a good welfare system that's going to help me out. No, you're not. You're going to be in a slavery system. It's Uncle Sam's plantation. And that's where we're headed. That's my opinion. And I'd like to have your opinions also. And you guys, if you want to send me an email or do something like that, please do so. We're going to finish off this night in just a minute. But again, I'll just wait for a moment to see if anybody has any comments about what I'm saying about this is all a ploy so that they can continue to foist upon us the Great Reset. It's not a conspiracy theory. It used to be. When I was talking about this 4 years ago, 5 years ago, about how the globalists are trying to take over the world and how they've been working on this for 100 years, 150 years, when you really research this, this goes back to the 17th century, to the 1600s, where there's always been a plan and a desire by a certain group to take over the world, to have one world government, a new world order. Oh, the new world order. Where did I see that? Oh, yeah. There it is. It's on the back of your dollar. The new world order. Annus Coptis. Novus Order Secularum. The pyramid with the all-seeing eye. This is, our dollar says in God we trust, but when this is on the back of the dollar, I don't know what God they're talking about. I know that not everybody's thinking about my God. All right? So this is what's going on in the world today. This is what's happening here. And I want to encourage you guys to really get ready. Continue to prepare. Continue to store things up. Continue to pray. Continue to seek the Lord. And trust in the Lord with all your heart and all your might. Because He loves you. He cares for you. If He knows when a sparrow falls from the sky, He knows what's happening to you. So the more we press in and believe in Him and trust in Him, the better off we're going to be. God is on our side. Well, that's it for tonight. I hope that you enjoyed this. And again, don't forget, follow me on the YouTube channel and go there and watch the videos. Click them, like them, and make some comments in there also. All of this will help get everything going better. So I want to say thank you. God bless you. And we'll see you again next week. May the Lord bless you and keep you.